Chapter 71 I told you. You will regret it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uchiha Kagami, second in command of Konoha's northern front, arrived at the eastern front camp, radiating authority. Shikaku Nara already suspected something. The Uchiha are making a move. His mind raced, calculating the odds of success for everyone involved, but how could he even begin? He didn't believe Uchiha Kagami had a chance. The third Hokage was only getting stronger with age, and his advisors were students of the second, so their power was undeniable. Then there were the legendary Sannin in their prime, Minato, Kushina, the current Inoshikacho trio, and the Hyuga clan, all loyal Hokage supporters. What did the Uchiha have? At most, 20 or so Sharingan users. Even if Uchiha Kagami was Kage level, plenty of people in the village could take him down, and that wasn't even considering, the war wasn't over. To start a coup now, whether successful or not, was reckless. Did he really think the other villages were stupid? After a long deliberation, Shikaku Nara led a dozen elite ninja to Uchiha Kagami's tent. He wanted to lay out the risks for Kagami and urge him to consider the bigger picture. Fighting for the Uchiha status was fine, but this wasn't the time. But the moment he stepped inside, Shikaku's thoughts shifted. Yin release represented spiritual energy. The Nara clan's secret technique revolved around Yin release. The same went for the Yamanaka clan jonin who accompanied them, not to mention the Hyuga clan members, who were also Ijutsu specialists. They might not be able to directly gauge raw power, but when it came to mental strength, the young man sitting calmly in the command seat made them feel like tiny boats on a raging sea. Just looking at him sent a jolt of pain through their minds. Uchiha Kagami, jonin, suppressing his growing fear, Shikaku addressed him with his rank. In reality, he technically outranked Uchiha Kagami. Uchiha Kagami glanced up from a scroll he was reading. You looking for me? That he couldn't even bother to use his squad leader title. Taking a deep breath, Shikaku forced a smile. Kagami, I didn't receive any notice you were coming to reinforce us. Is there something you needed assistance with from the clan? Uchiha Kagami shook his head and chuckled. Shikaku Nara, you're a smart guy. Why do smart people always play dumb? You know exactly why I'm here. Shikaku's face darkened. Kagami, stop this. There's still time. Think about Jiraiya. He wouldn't want you doing anything rash. Quiet. Uchiha Kagami's eyes turned cold as he stared at Shikaku. Since you're here, I don't have to go looking for you. Submit to the Uchiha, or the entire Nara clan will die. You have 3 seconds. What are you talking about? Uchiha Kagami. A young Hyuga ninja spoke up, but before he could finish, his head was no longer attached to his shoulders. It fell to the ground, splattering blood and brains. Shikaku's pupils shrank, struggling to comprehend what he'd just witnessed. He actually did it. He murdered a fellow villager in cold blood. This was outright treason. Not just an empty threat. Uchiha Kagami smiled faintly. You tried to cut in line, so I delivered the judgment on Hinata. He turned his gaze to Hyuga Hizashi in the crowd. I'll kill every member of the main family. You branch families are used to being lapdogs anyway. How about switching masters? Or are you willing to die with the main family? Hinata Hizashi couldn't help but tremble, not from fear of his own death, but from the crushing weight of his family's fate resting on his shoulders. Only an idiot from the main family would speak out in this situation. As a ninja skilled in eye techniques, didn't he recognize the difference in power? Hinata Hizashi was almost certain that Uchiha Kagami had awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. And he was the one who triggered this monster. Thump. Hinata Hizashi buckled under the pressure and fell to his knees. Please spare my brother. On behalf of the branch family, I promise to submit to you. I admire your decisiveness. As the first to express his opinion, I can grant you this favor. What about you, Shikaku Nara? You've had enough time to think. Shikaku's clenched fists relaxed. He let out a long sigh. Kagami, I can't speak for the clan. Whatever they decide is their business. I can only speak for myself. Whoosh. Shikaku formed hand seals, and his shadow morphed into razor-sharp claws, lunging towards Uchiha Kagami. Don't underestimate Konoha's ninja. You bastard. You murderous lunatic, stab dash, the ultra-high-frequency invisible / reduced the shadow and Shikaku Nara to ashes. If you're worried about those so-called important figures, then how can you ever make a change? Anyone can die in this world, except for the Uchiha, everything can be rebuilt. I appreciate your decision, too. Uchiha Kagami looked at the remaining ninja and said calmly. Anyone ready to die heroically, step forward now. After a moment, only a few people walked out of the tent. The Eastern Front was being cleansed, there was no equality. Only through submission to the Uchiha could they earn the right to survive. Back in Konoha, Mitokado Hamura and Utatane Koharu and others who remained fought off an invasion of Iwagakure ninja, but at the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen was not present. Instead, Orochimaru sat in the Hokage's chair. Utatane Koharu and Mitokado Hamura looked grim. Even they couldn't help but feel grief at the death of their childhood friend. Danzo Shimura, arriving late, burst through the door and saw Orochimaru on the throne. His pupils shrank, then followed uncontrollable rage. Orochimaru. What do you think you're doing? Hiruzen hasn't. The old man is dead. Danzo Shimura was stunned. For a moment, he thought about his old teammate with dark brown hair and sharp eyes. The one who once became the light, but he snapped out of his daze and glared viciously at Orochimaru. Then you have no right to sit there. Don't think what you did. Shut up, Danzo Shimura. Orochimaru cut him off, tossing a file at his face. One of Root's missions is to monitor the Uchiha clan. Now go and see if there's even anyone left in the Uchiha compound. The Uchiha have clearly decided to rebel. If you can't even detect something like this in advance, what's the point of Root? That his cold snake eyes locked onto Danzo, as if he wanted to devour him whole. Danzo opened the file, his expression growing darker. As soon as Orochimaru returned to the village, he forcibly sent people to raid the Uchiha compound, hoping to use the Uchiha as leverage. Perhaps this was the only way to restrain Uchiha Kagami, but it wasn't until the fighting started that they discovered the Uchiha patrolling were merely shadow clones. The mass exodus of clan members had left no obvious traces. The trail was cut off at a large river several kilometers away. Orochimaru stared at Danzo intently, his voice dripping with venom. I've been investigating since I returned, and you haven't noticed a thing. I think Root is no longer necessary. Danzo could explain. Most of his subordinates were away on missions, and those who remained had been fighting the Iwagakure invasion. Besides, the only Uchiha left were the old, the weak, women, and children, so he didn't bother wasting resources to watch them, but he had no intention of explaining. One thought consumed him: the Uchiha rebelled. Hiruzen. I told you. You'll regret this. Chapter 72: The Twisted World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Underground, White Zetsu emerged from the earth. Uchiha Madara, seated on a stone chair, slowly opened his eyes. What's the situation topside? Uchiha Kagami has gathered his clan and they've linked up. He's headed toward Konoha with the 700 ninjas from the Eastern Front. Too bad. Madara murmured. He's got the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and he's still stuck on his clan. If he could just see the despair of this world, he'd be perfect. He turned to White Zetsu. Sandai's setup is complete, right? White Zetsu chuckled. Gotta hand it to Kagami, bringing all those Konoha ninja together. Otherwise, it would have been a pain. The Mist Village guys are dragging Noera Rin, who's got the three tails sealed inside her, towards Konoha on a separate path from Kagami. They should be running into Kakashi any minute now. Time for Obito to face reality. Let him know. Understood. In the thick woods, a ninja army marched in formation. There were Uchiha, Hyuga, and some from other clans, but mostly regular ninja. Given the choice between death and surrender, a lot of the clan ninja still picked death. As for the regulars, who cares who's Hokage? The Uchiha had a pretty good rep with the Eastern Front regulars. Some of the clan ninja, like Nara Shikaku, were known to quietly give their own families a break. Plus, because of the Hokage's orders, the Uchiha were always stuck with the most dangerous missions. Those red-eyed guys might have had attitude, but they really didn't give a damn about their lives when they were on the job. Arrogant and strong, that was the Uchiha, and another thing, they were fair. The Uchiha looked down on everyone equally, clan and regular alike. Usually, clans like the Hyuga were a step above the regulars. Now they were all on the same level, but they just had to answer to the Uchiha, which wasn't that hard to swallow. Especially after the bodies of the third Raikage and the Five Tails Jinchuriki got dumped in front of them, that made them think this wasn't just some desperate play by the Uchiha, but that they might actually have a shot at winning. To keep up with the army, Uchiha Jing didn't take an eagle. Revolver eyed the pumped-up Uchiha behind him and asked nervously, "Master Jing, what exactly are we doing?" Uchiha Jing, dozing on the cat's back, said casually, "Dumb cat, can't you tell? We're going to war." "But, isn't this the road to Konoha?" "Yep, we're going to fight Konoha." "What's the problem?" Revolver wasn't totally dense. "Is this it?" "Master Jing, how about I go get the cat village on board? Our ninja cat clan has been with the Uchiha for generations, meow." He was practically vibrating with excitement. Uchiha Jing grinned. "I appreciate the offer, but I don't want you ruining the serious vibe. Don't worry, there'll be plenty of times we need the ninja cat clan. Just keep it steady and don't jiggle so much." Another road to Konoha. Kakashi, eyes bloodshot, chased a group of mist ninja. Whoosh, star, lightning crackled under his feet, and he accelerated. His lightning-infused short blade pierced through two mist ninja. Kakashi hadn't become a ninja early to run missions. Hatake Sakumo had taught him swordsmanship. He'd also learned from Jiraiya, and from watching Minato and Uchiha Kagami fight. Putting it all together, Kakashi had developed his thunder sword ninjutsu. He used lightning chakra to boost his speed, and the lightning blade had insane piercing power, instant acceleration. Just pick a direction. No wind-up or Sharingan needed like with the Raikiri. It was similar to the lightning chakra mode in the Cloud Village, but not quite there yet. Even without the Sharingan, Kakashi was stronger now than he'd been in the other timeline, but destiny, once set, wasn't going to change just because he was stronger. If you got stronger, they just sent more guys after you. After a long fight, Kakashi was panting, his eyes bloodshot. He couldn't stop. "I lost Obito. I can't let my friends get hurt again. Lin. Give her back," he yelled. This time, Kakashi didn't expect anyone to save him. Up ahead, two mist ninja were holding Noara Rin hostage. Rin was awake but playing unconscious. "Calm down. Kakashi will come for me. I need to do the right thing at the right time." She could hear the mist ninja talking beside her. Mizuki's plan is brilliant. Wait for Konoha's defenses to be weak, and seal the three tails into this girl. We'll release it in Konoha village, hee. That'll deal Konoha a heavy blow. The major ninja villages are bleeding dry. Maybe we can use this to take the land of fire. Yeah. When the time comes. Every word pushed Rin closer to the edge. She remembered what Uchiha Jing had asked her years ago, and her answer: if someone has to be sacrificed to complete the mission. I hope it's me. Maybe, now's the time to make that real. Rin's resolve hardened, just like she'd said years ago. I can sacrifice myself for the village. Sorry. Kakashi. After a brutal fight, Kakashi finally saw Rin. His eyes lit up. Lin, wait for me. I'm coming to save you. Ignoring the damage to his body, Kakashi poured every ounce of his lightning chakra into his body and transformed into a bolt of lightning, shooting toward the mist ninja holding Rin hostage. Shoo! Kakashi's hands were shaking. Warm blood flowed down the blade and into his hand. He'd killed a lot of enemies. The white fang short blade had killed countless enemies, but this was the first time it was stained with the blood of a friend. Kakashi was shaking even harder now, his eyes wide. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Kakashi, I'm sorry. Her hand, getting colder, brushed Kakashi's cheek and fell limp. Kakashi's blade had pierced Rin's heart. The exploding lightning tore through her chest. This scene, by fate, was witnessed by a young man. The darkness in his eyes deepened until the three tomo formed a swirling blade. The world began to warp. Chapter 73 Causality. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Blood rain drifted, lifeless wooden spikes pierced the bodies of hidden mist ninja, creating a hell of thorns. Kakashi stared at the man walking towards him through the carnage. Obito's face was partially covered by white zetsu, revealing only scarlet Mangekyo Sharingan eyes. Reflection. Or is it, the earth? You've come back from the afterlife to judge me. Kakashi was beyond caring. All desire to live had vanished. The figure standing there seemed nothing more than an empty shell, a scarecrow. Kakashi. A hoarse voice emerged from behind the mask. Kakashi. Those who want to live are dying, and those who don't want to, are killing. What a messed up world. Hopeless. There's no light. All I feel is despair, over and over. In a world like this, there's no point in going on. Tears as thick as blood welled up in his eyes. Obito understood, this world is broken. If it continues, the tragedy will just repeat. Thwack asterisk. A wooden spike extended from his palm. Kakashi, I'm going to reshape this world. Lin will be there, and you, too, a world, without this tragedy. Obito stepped closer to Kakashi, his steps unsteady at first, then becoming firm. Kakashi didn't react, simply looking down at his bloody hands. It's true then. There are things you need death to escape. I don't have the guts to live anymore. Dad. Obito raised his palm and lunged toward Kakashi. I'll help you out, Kakashi, just wait for the perfect world to arrive. The two were only a few feet apart when, clang, a flash of white light, like a fong tearing through time and space, appeared and vanished. Half the wooden splinter flew away. A tall figure stood protecting Kakashi, his back to him, white hair billowed in the wind. Sorry, Kakashi. I'm late. Dad, Kakashi, pushed beyond his limits, collapsed forward. Hatake Tsukumo didn't look back, his gaze fixed on the person in front of him. That weird wooden spike, and the Sharingan, that over the years, Hatake Tsukumo had been doing more than just dealing with Sasori. He'd sensed that Danzo was up to something. Even if he was no longer a Konoha ninja, he couldn't stand by and watch the darkness fester. His secret investigation had revealed Danzo Shimura was conducting wood-release experiments. Keep digging. The third Hokage knows. 2 Hatake Tsukumo had a suspicion. Did Danzo use Uchiha clan members as test subjects for wood release? Konoha White Fang. Obito, this is bad. The White Zetsu clone spoke, knowing Obito's condition best. Opening the Mangekyo Sharingan granted immense power, but he had already spent too much chakra, making facing an opponent of this level too risky. Obito ignored him, launching an attack with wooden spikes erupting from his palm. Who are you? Hatake Tsukumo shouted. Receiving no answer, he raised his sword to meet the attack. The short sword pierced Obito's body. Hatake Tsukumo's pupils narrowed as he saw Obito rushing towards Kakashi. Stop! As the wooden spike came within inches of Kakashi, swish, Hatake Tsukumo intercepted, the wooden splinter piercing his shoulder, spraying blood. Ignoring the pain, he slashed at Obito's face. Click! The white Zetsu tentacles covering Obito's face were severed, revealing a familiar face. You're Obito. Obito remained calm, forming a hand seal to perform the wood release technique. The wooden spike in Hatake Tsukumo's shoulder was about to explode and kill him. But the Konoha White Fang wasn't like those Kirigakure ninja. Sensing the danger, he pulled out the wooden spike and flung it away just before Obito could complete the technique. Click. Looking at the thorny ball, Hatake Tsukumo frowned. Luckily. Sasori often uses similar tactics, so I knew how to react. Wood release, the ability to hollow out. I can only attack when I attack. Hatake Tsukumo frowned. Obito, why are you trying to kill Kakashi? What happened? That's none of your business. The coldness in Obito's eyes was unsettling. Is this really the friendly Uchiha kid I knew? The Mangekyo Sharingan in his left eye socket spun, distorting space. Ugh! A stinging pain shot through his eye socket. Obito, retreat. Your body can't handle those eyes yet. No. Obito gritted his teeth, trying to force his Mangekyo to activate. He knows too much. We can't let him live. White Zetsu, growing frustrated, played his trump card. Uchiha Kagami is nearby. If you keep fighting, even if you kill him, what happens when Kagami gets here? In White Zetsu's opinion, Obito's identity had to be hidden. If he was the only one with Mangekyo Sharingan, perhaps he could put on Uchiha Madara's mask and act as Madara. However, the first to possess the Mangekyo was Uchiha Kagami, and his power was even greater than that of Uchiha Obito. Besides, Uchiha Kagami really fought with Madara. Even Madara gave up the idea of letting Obito play himself. What if Uchiha Obito wears a mask in front of the mirror? Say you are a spotted, so ugly, no matter how exciting a kaleidoscope is, it cannot directly turn into an eternal kaleidoscope. Even Uchiha Kagami is no match for me. Then why don't you wait until you've healed and fully mastered the Mangekyo before killing him? White Zetsu knew he couldn't tell Obito that he was no match for Uchiha Kagami. With Uchiha's stubbornness, Obito really wouldn't leave. Maybe, he will even go find Uchiha Kagami to compete with him. After years of living with Madara and observing many Uchiha, White Zetsu can be considered an expert in dealing with half Uchiha people. Obito was silent. He slowly walked to Lin's body. Gently, he took her in his arms. He could no longer feel any warmth. Tears of blood fell silently, drop by drop. Finally, Obito looked deeply at Kakashi, and along with Noara Rin, their bodies began to twist. Kakashi, you keep struggling. Live with your sins. Hatake Tsukumo watched the scene unfold, not taking any action. He knew this must be connected to Danzo. I told you. If you dare to hurt Kakashi, I'll kill you. Hatake Tsukumo put Kakashi on his back and fled towards Konoha. He needed to tell Uchiha Kagami everything, that Danzo had already turned on the Uchiha clan. It was time to make a choice. Danzo can't be allowed to live. Chapter 74, The War Begins. The Sword of the Cliff. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Konoha, Orochimaru didn't even wait for his teacher's funeral or the succession ceremony before prepping for war. Villagers were moved to shelters, and ninjas patrolled around the clock. The barrier surrounding Konoha was modified, shrinking its size to boost its defense and detection capabilities. Scattered ninjas were recalled, securing the border. Orochimaru. Is this really necessary? Mitomen frowned. The Uchiha rebellion is serious, but leaving the border unguarded. What if other villages see an opening? Orochimaru stared off into the distance, his voice cold. Let them take the fire country. We can always fight back later. Right now, the future is what matters. If I haven't made myself clear, Elder Mitomen. Madara Uchiha. Just think of Uchiha Kagami as Madara. You've seen that man with your own eyes, haven't you? Uchiha Kagami today. She has equal power. I understand. Orochimaru, get some rest. You haven't slept properly in days. While Orochimaru had become the fourth Hokage, the old guard wasn't exactly thrilled about it, but these were desperate times. Orochimaru paused, then turned. You two, stay here. The sensory ninjas can't let their guard down for a second. Orochimaru passed through the layers of barriers and arrived at Konoha's most secretive location, the Book of Seals. He'd infiltrated it once before, learning the eight-headed technique and other forbidden arts related to the soul and body. Entering now as Hokage felt different. Mastering every skill in the world had always been his dream, one he still held. For that, he needed eternal life. There was one technique that intrigued him, a form of immortality, the impure world reincarnation. Created by the second Hokage, summoning the souls of the dead from the underworld, using the living as sacrifices. A truly evil technique. Senju Tobarama was reviled for using it, even by the second Tsuchikage Mu and the Kinkaku and Ginkaku brothers. Orochimaru had studied it before, and considered it mostly useless. The summoned ninja were barely stronger than the sacrifices. He'd taken some of its knowledge and applied it to his own immortality techniques, but now, maybe, it could be his trump card for a counterattack. Orochimaru was certain he'd lose against Uchiha Kagami. It wasn't just his gut feeling. The elders had said that only the first Hokage could defeat Uchiha Madara. a white snake emerged from Orochimaru's sleeve, swallowing the entire scroll of the Book of Seals, then vanished with a puff of smoke. He stared at the empty space, a smile playing on his lips. "Old man, I can't die for this village like you did. Survival comes first. Too many interesting things await. But I am the Hokage now. I'll stay here as long as I can." In the dark corridor, Danzo waited, leaning on his cane. Orochimaru stopped, looking at him impatiently. "What do you want now?" "I won't tolerate your nonsense forever." "Nonsense?" Danzo scoffed. "We worked on wood release together. Hiruzen enabled me, just as he enabled you. If you're just going to spout garbage, leave." Orochimaru brushed past him. "Orochimaru, wood release is the only thing that can beat the Sharingan. It's not the time yet. But if Uchiha Kagami really becomes like Madara, we can hide and continue researching wood release. Sooner or later, we can create a wood release ninja as strong as the first." Orochimaru stopped, his snake-like eyes fixed on Danzo. He sneered. "Backing down again, like always. Ha, Danzo, you're not worth my time. You don't deserve to live. Let me be clear. If I win, your best outcome is prison. If Uchiha Kagami wins, I'll give her everything I know about you. Do you think the Uchiha will let you live? Don't hide, Danzo. Without the village to protect you, Hatake Sakumo would wipe the floor with you. You think I fear death?" Danzo's face twitched with rage. Orochimaru continued walking, his voice indifferent. "Believe what you want, it doesn't matter. The old man needed you as a shadow, but I don't. The Hokage shouldn't just be the light of the village, but also bear its darkness." 30 kilometers from Konoha, ninjas moved through the forest, their killing intent making birds take flight and animals hide. At the head of the group, Uchiha Kagami wore navy blue, the Uchiha crest emblazoned on her back. Her swords, Sodi Shirayuki and Mingzuan, hung at her waist. Following close behind, the old Shinhwa felt tears welling up. When he was a child, he remembered pointing at a figure walking into the sunset. He'd asked, "Who's that?" His mother answered, "That's our clan leader. Uchiha Madara. The hero who led us from the warring states to peace. Where's he going?" His mother held him tightly, tears on his cheeks. "I don't know. I can't follow him. I have you now." The Uchiha had been reluctant to give up their hard-won peace. Years later, Shinhwa's mother died on a mission. He knew she would have survived if she had received timely treatment, but because she was Uchiha, ninjas with less serious injuries were treated before her. He wiped his eyes. "Mother, do you see? This boy has the answer. The Uchiha don't have to go anywhere. Konoha is our home, it belongs to us." As the village came into view, Uchiha Kagami smiled. She brought her hands together, her massive chakra becoming almost tangible, stirring up a gale. A blue-purple energy surrounded her, dreamlike. The earth cracked, the fissure spread, tearing the barrier apart. Flames flowed from the cracks, the ground surged, rocks erupted, shaped like blades, huge, magma-covered rock blades. The peaceful town transformed into a lava hell. Dragon Vein, Earthquake Core, Cliff Sword. Chapter 75, 4 Elephant Seal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sensory ninjas were constantly patrolling the barrier's edge, and Konoha was on high alert, at peak combat readiness, but it was all for nothing. The flaming sword erupting from the ground shattered any remaining illusions. So, it had come to this. Konoha didn't want the unstable Uchihas in positions of power, and the Uchihas wanted to be treated fairly and equally. They weren't asking for special treatment. They were confident they could earn their place with their own skills. Madara Uchiha had foreseen this day coming. Kagami Uchiha didn't bother with negotiations or challenges. There was no point. He was confident that he would have enough power and that he would use it. People aren't plants, they have hearts, so he deliberately kept his distance from everyone since childhood. He didn't want to hesitate when the time came. He even understood Nagato. If he'd asked Jiraiya for help with his ideals, Jiraiya would have tried to stop him. Jing Uchiha was mentally prepared to kill anyone he needed to. Jing never considered himself a good person, nor did he have lofty goals like world peace. He just wanted to stop the people he cared about from drowning in the pain of this world, like he said at the beginning. Itachi Uchiha, you and I are similar, Itachi, we just care about different things. There was no panic. Under the immense pressure, the power of Konoha was united. The eastern battlefield had been silent for days, and Nara Shikaku had sent the information as soon as he met Kagami Uchiha, Orochimaru, Mitomen, and the others stood on the broken wall. Thousands of Konoha ninjas stood in neat rows. They were all elites from various ninja clans and civilian ninjas. In a war like this, ordinary genin were nothing more than cannon fodder. Below the wall, Jin Uchiha looked up at Orochimaru, a slight smile playing on his lips. Not the third Hokage, but you, Orochimaru. Orochimaru gave a cryptic smile. Disappointed, Jin Uchiha shook his head. Not at all. This is a pleasant surprise, actually. Saves us from the usual pre-battle banter. If it were the third, he'd still be trying to talk me down. Orochimaru's mouth stretched into a disturbingly inhuman grin. You're right. Eagle eats snake, snake eats chick. Simple as that. Orochimaru leaped, his body transforming mid-air. It swelled and twisted, grotesque white snake heads emerging, radiating an ominous aura. A massive monster, the size of a tailed beast, appeared between the two armies. Pure white, like 8 giant serpents entwined, it had a twisted beauty. The Yamata no Orochi, a legendary evil being, it was said to control natural disasters like earthquakes, wildfires, and storms, an embodiment of obsession and evil. The 8-headed technique, a forbidden jutsu based on the legend, its origins lost to time. Even its creator might not have mastered it as well as Orochimaru. This was his ultimate technique, no doubt about it. One giant snake head opened, revealing Orochimaru's slime-covered body, holding the Kusanagi sword. 8 snake heads lowered, staring down at the tiny Jin Uchiha. 2 of them opened their mouths, gathering energy for a giant wind and earth blast. The chakra surge was terrifying, like the tailed beasts. Jing! Look! This is my jutsu. A natural disaster that rivals the tailed beasts. Jin Uchiha looked at him impassively, then turned to the people on the wall. Go! Kagami Uchiha would protect the old, the weak, women, and children of his clan, but a true Uchiha craved to prove himself in battle. Only then could order be established and maintained in this twisted ninja world. The ninjas under Kagami Uchiha moved like afterimages. Whoosh! Mitomen N and Utain Koharu stood on a snake's head. He took off his glasses and tucked them away. Since you hate lectures, I won't say anything. Those who survive will rebuild Konoha. The enormous spirit scroll unfurled. Ninjutsu, manipulation of equipment, horizontal flow of 10,000 objects. Utain Koharu clasped her hands together, 2 emerald green chakra streams flowing, one connecting to the snake beneath her, the other to Mitomen N. Before I die, I won't hold back. I'll fight with everything I've got. Boom. Wind and earth collided and merged, rock and soil accelerated with a meteor-like impact. Countless sharp blades were mixed in, making the power utterly devastating. The violent energy loosened Jin Uchiha's headband, and his shoulder-length, slightly wavy black hair whipped around him. His left eye turned scarlet, activating the Sharingan. The 4th Magatama appeared. Slash. The black and red lightning tore through the energy storm. The battlefield fell silent. The incredibly powerful combination of ninjutsu was effortlessly cut down by the massive crescent-shaped blade, including one of the snake heads. Mitomen N was killed. N. Utain Koharu cried out in anguish. Jin Uchiha crossed his arms, looking at her mockingly. He died first. How does that feel, advisor? Kagami Uchiha. A snake coiled around Koharu Utain, and Orochimaru's cold voice echoed. Calm down. Did you actually expect to survive against Kagami Uchiha? Swipe. Orochimaru placed both hands on the hilt of the Kusanagi sword, and the blade extended infinitely. Clang! The sound of metal clashing crackled in the air. A layer of light blue chakra covered Kagami Uchiha's palm, and he caught the razor-sharp Kusanagi sword in his bare hand. Nice sword. I collect Kusanagi swords. Thank you. I'll take it. Orochimaru, gripping the sword with both hands, felt an overwhelming force. He couldn't resist. He watched his beloved blade slip from his grasp. Without Orochimaru's control, the sword quickly retracted to its normal length. After shaking off the slime, Jing Uchiha tossed it aside. Suddenly, in the triangle centered on Jing Uchiha, black and red blood erupted from the ground. Instantly, black sealing patterns covered Jing Uchiha's entire body. 3 masked ninjas emerged from the earth, hands flashing through seals. In 4 symbols seal. Pure black blood exploded from their bodies, forming a black sphere filled with underworld malice, threatening to consume everything. Jing Uchiha remained expressionless, not moving until the black orb completely surrounded him. Only then did Danzo Shimura reveal himself. He looked at the black barrier with a sinister sneer. Arrogant Uchiha, you don't understand the power of the 4 symbols technique. The reason for your death. Crack dash. Before Shimura Danzo could finish his sentence, 2 clean cuts crossed, drawing an X on the black sphere. Whoosh. The black barrier shattered like glass. The indifferent Sharingan stared at Shimura Danzo. What are you laughing at? Danzo Shimura. Chapter 76 Yellow Flash, Red Eyes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Madara Uchiha failed to destroy Konoha when he controlled the Nine Tails. Now, it's just ruins. Sunset. Dusk, the scent of blood drew crows circling overhead. A jet-black spear pierced Danzo Shimura's chest, a black spike, the kind wielded by those who possess the Rinnegan and Yin-Yang release. Danzo dared to show his face because he had Izanagi, his trump card, a technique to alter fate, but when he tried to use his Sharingan to activate the technique, he found his chakra wouldn't flow. Our perception of power is skewed. Uchiha Kagami stepped closer. The overwhelming pressure reminded Danzo of something from decades ago, his eternal regret, not being a step ahead of Hiruzen. The fear of death washed over him. Over the years, he'd risked everything for his missions, taking a beating both physically and mentally. He just wanted to forget this fear. In moments like these, some people shout to reassure themselves. Uchiha Kagami. Your clan is a plague on Konoha. If Hiruzen had acted sooner. Thwack! A black spear slammed through Danzo's mouth, pinning him to the ground. It contorted his body into a grotesque posture. Thwack. Thwack. Thwack, star. More spears pinned his abdomen, his legs, everywhere but his vital points. He knelt, twisted and broken. I've wanted to do this for so long. How dare you show your face? You know, I have no animosity toward Tobirama Senju. The hatred between the Uchiha and Senju isn't so easily erased. But, my grandfather helped you guys out countless times. What has the Uchiha clan ever done to you? Danzo struggled, his eyes blazing. If he could speak, he'd unleash a torrent of venom. Kagami didn't appreciate being interrupted by annoying people when he was talking. He loathed Obito and Itachi, but at least they hadn't specifically targeted the Uchiha. Yet, Danzo Shimura, on the other hand, had dedicated his life to destroying the clan. Let me tell you something. Kagami's tone dripped with scorn, his eyes reflecting utter contempt. You're just a jealous, incompetent little man. While publicly denouncing us, you secretly craved the power of the Sharingan. Kagami ripped the bandages from Danzo's right eye, tearing away the eyelids that refused to open. A 3-tomo Sharingan glared back. Danzo, you keep yammering on about how evil the Uchiha clan is. Kagami tore open Danzo's shirt, shattering the iron seal on his arm. 3 Sharingan slowly emerged on his grotesque arm, exposed for all to see. Danzo's body convulsed, but he was utterly helpless. He couldn't even scream. Both Konoha and Uchiha forces stared in stunned silence. Boom. A water dragon bullet shot forth, not at Kagami, but at Danzo. Koharu Udatane couldn't bear to see her old friend humiliated like this. Kagami didn't even look back. An invisible slash shattered the water dragon. Koharu remained frozen in her jutsu stance. Her arms fell, her chest and abdomen sliced horizontally. In an instant, only scattered chunks remained, like a clay jar full of blood, smashed to smithereens. Orochimaru's pupils narrowed. Even the 8-headed serpent technique, hailed as granting immortality, couldn't offer him comfort. He knew the gap was huge. He didn't even entertain the thought of winning, but witnessing this firsthand, Orochimaru realized Kagami was on another level entirely. Only, he hadn't expected such utter vulnerability. Uchiha Kagami, you possess the power to wipe out Konoha single-handedly. Someone as strong as you should be indifferent, above it all, if Kagami knew Orochimaru's thoughts. He wouldn't bother to explain. Kagami's gaze pierced Danzo, but he couldn't even close his eyes. The potent insight of the Sharingan had become his curse. A ninja's vitality far exceeds that of an ordinary man. So, let's conduct an experiment, Danzo Shimura. I hope you live to see the new Konoha rebuilt. Konoha belongs to the Uchiha. Kagami gently stilled the bleeding at Danzo's fingertips, for more black spears descended around him, and new black spikes emerged. A cage, flickers of red lotus fire clung to the cage. Every possibility of escape, of survival, for Danzo was gone. A smirk tugged at the corner of Kagami's mouth. Danzo, you know what you look like right now. An ugly old dog. I considered, just squashing you like a bug. But just as you hate us, I hate you just as much. You don't deserve a quick death. Your body will never find a grave. And I'll find a way to bind your soul to this body. Don't even think about escaping to the Pure Land. My curse on you will last beyond the grave. Kagami turned away. A young man with golden hair stood in the open space. Minato Namake's breath came in ragged gasps. Since waking up, he'd been using the flying thunder god to rush here. Terror and dread filled his eyes. He feared what might happen. The one thing he dreaded most, even death, it couldn't compare to the horror of losing Kushina. Kagami. Kushina, where is she? His mind replayed the moment Kagami ensnared him in genjutsu. He'd sensed the nine-tails inside Kushina spiraling out of control. Minato, is Kushina more important to you than Konoha? I don't know. Minato's voice cracked, his grip tightening on his kunai. Whatever you want, just give Kushina back to me. Sensing Minato's intense emotional turmoil, Kagami had a morbid thought. If Minato possessed Uchiha blood, if he pushed him a little further, maybe he could unlock the Mangekyo. She's with my people. She's safe. The Nine-Tails has calmed down. How could it not be stable? Not only did it have the Uzumaki seal, but it also had the pupil power control equivalent to the eternal Mangekyo. Minato exhaled slowly, then his gaze swept over the warring ninjas before locking on Danzo. He saw the Sharingan on his arm. Minato made a quick decision, his eyes hardened. Kagami, do you want to be Hokage? Kagami shook his head. Not interested. Good. Minato Namake's took a steadying breath, his voice firm. I'll become the Hokage. I'm willing to acknowledge the Uchiha clan's superior status, and I'll help you crush any resistance. Just promise me, you'll spare the children and those who submit. Please. Kagami had already explained his ideals to Minato. Minato understood that the path Kagami chose would not be bloodless. It was the necessary pain in forging an orderly world. The ninja world had been in chaos for 1,000 years, and even with the ninja villages, there was no sign of peace. The wars were growing more brutal. Now, someone like Kagami Uchiha had emerged, and it was the best opportunity. No one was more capable than Kagami to sever the cycle of hatred in this world. No one understood him better than he did. He would be his support, his guide. They were brothers. A hint of a smile touched Kagami's lips. He was luckier than him. Holding Naruto, he turned toward Orochimaru. All right, Minato-san, let's finish this. Red eyes and yellow flash. Orochimaru's mouth stretched into a serpentine grin. My debut and final battle are both going to be spectacular. Then, bring it on. The colossal Yamata no Orochi had an undeniable size advantage, but everyone could sense it, the unwavering resolve to die. Chapter 77, Konoha belongs to the Uchiha. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Yamata no Orochi charged relentlessly. Minato didn't back down, meeting the onslaught head-on. He flashed into the air, spamming shuriken shadow clones, heedless of the chakra drain. Under such intense fire, even the giant snake had struggled to regenerate fast enough. Nothing lasts forever, nothing is indestructible. Even the supposedly immortal eight-headed technique had its limits. Kagami wasn't sweating it, but Minato was. The sooner he took down Orochimaru, the sooner he could convince the Konoha ninja to stand down, saving as many lives as possible. This was a chance he bought with his own skin. Orochimaru knew it too, but frankly, Minato was the only one of the three who gave a damn about those people. Orochimaru had already resigned himself to death, but he sure as hell wasn't going out like this. The scene shifted to Minato taking the lead, with Kagami providing backup. Kagami wasn't in a hurry to finish Orochimaru, he knew killing him wouldn't solve anything. He was betting that this guy had already set up a resurrection plan. It might be easy for a strong ninja to beat Orochimaru. But killing him for good? Orochimaru was like a bad case of psoriasis, or a flyer you can't tear down. Kagami wasn't interested in a thankless task like that. If he pops up again, they'd deal with him then. Just then, Tsukumo Hatake appeared beside Kagami, Kakashi slung over his back. He'd noticed the bloody battlefield and was stunned. After gathering himself, he spotted Danzo Shimura in a sorry state near the burning pyre. Sharingan. Danzo was behind this. Kagami. I need to tell you something important. Kagami glanced at Kakashi, then said calmly, it's about Obito. You know. Kagami, Danzo's experiments brainwashed Obito and unlocked a terrifying Sharingan. Did you squeeze Obito's location out of us? We have to rescue him ASAP. But I don't think you can just waltz away right now. Kagami was speechless. Where was he getting this info? Don't blame everything on Danzo, dude. He raised his hands in surrender. I know about Obito, relax. One thing at a time. I have a plan for him. Tsukumo turned his gaze to Minato, who was locked in a fierce battle with Orochimaru. For a second, he couldn't tell who was on which side. Logically, they should be allies. He was on Kagami's side. Who needs to be taken out? That just like the old days, Tsukumo asked Kagami. He still wasn't good at overthinking things or making big decisions. Go help Minato finish off Orochimaru. Got it. I understand. His short blade flashed. Tsukumo couldn't always tell right from wrong, but he trusted Kagami's judgment. Kagami had foresight, he'd give him the right call. Sorry. Orochimaru, seeing the flash of white light, Orochimaru was speechless. He was just one of the legendary Sannin, not just the red eyes, but the yellow flash too. Now even the white fang of Konoha showed up. They had the wrong guy. He wasn't Hashirama Senju, or Madara Uchiha. With Tsukumo and Minato going all out, and Kagami just chilling on the sidelines, even Orochimaru couldn't last. The massive white snake body broke apart piece by piece, blood flowing like a river. The giant snake, formed by the eight-headed technique, shrunk smaller and smaller. Finally, using the last of his strength, Orochimaru forced Minato and Tsukumo back. Uchiha Kagami. Orochimaru's voice was a croak. The Yamata no Orochi roared, its body stretching out like a hand desperately reaching for something. The snake's body was peeled away layer by invisible cuts. The Konoha ninja watching from a distance felt the same helplessness. The earth was being shaved away, becoming concave. No matter how hard Orochimaru tried, he couldn't get any closer to Kagami. Dark golden snake eyes, for the first time since the war began, looked directly into that eye. Such a beautiful Sharingan, so beautiful. Really, so beautiful. Kagami, maybe you're the perfect being, such a strong body, such powerful eyes. One day, I'll have you. Just a little closer. All of Orochimaru's flesh and blood had been sliced away, but his bony hand still reached forward. No fear, no regret, only admiration for beauty. Kagami smiled faintly. I admire your persistence, Orochimaru. I know this isn't really the end for you, but let's give you a good send-off. Legend says Susanoo killed the Yamata no Orochi. Click, 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 a layer of black and red chakra skeleton wrapped around Kagami. The sword in his hand was also covered with chakra, which kept extending, until it was dozens of meters long. Invisible ripples spread out, and everyone felt a sense of primal fear. Every cell was bursting with energy, adrenaline pumping, heart racing, pupils dilated, blood rushing through veins like a boiling torrent. Susanoo, the power within the Mangekyo Sharingan. Comparable to the destructive power of the nine-tailed fox. Remember this well, even through countless reincarnations. Point 1. Cut silences everything. A profound silence. The black and red slash cut through Orochimaru and kept going. The mountains in the distance suddenly cracked open, and kept going. until it disappeared from sight. Orochimaru was consumed by the black and red light, a satisfied smile on his face. The Konoha Hokage had fallen, the battlefield went silent. Witnessing such godlike power, even the Uchiha clan members forgot about fighting for a moment. They cleared their minds, trying to imprint this scene into their memories. Whoosh! Minato appeared above the ruins. The battle is over. Drop your weapons. He gripped his special kunai, radiating killing intent. Anyone who refuses to surrender will face me. Clang, clang, one weapon was dropped, then more and more, the few remaining ninja fell to the ground, covering their faces and weeping. Even the Uchiha clan, their opponents, were silent. Defeating their own villagers brought little joy. War was never a good thing. This didn't need to happen, but things had gotten so bad that this cleansing was necessary. It started to rain, a heavy summer rain, washing away the blood. The war had only lasted half a day. Kagami waded through the blood, step by step, past the broken walls and corpses. His face was unreadable. He walked into the Uchiha's Konoha. Chapter 78 All Parties, Between the Hands and Doors. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Above the ocean, three figures soared through the sky. Inoki, legless, clutched the newly appointed fourth Raikage, in one hand, and the fourth Kazekage, Raza, in the other. Raza's face was a mess of bruises. He looked completely wrecked. Just days earlier, Inoki, AI, and Killer Bee had barged into the sand village. Without a word, they'd jumped Raza, then gotten around to explaining why they were there. Inoki sure knew how to win people over, all right. The Tsuchikage, the Raikage. This Uchiha Kagami, is he really that strong? Raza had heard it repeated, but it still felt unbelievable. Could one ninja really be a match for an entire nation? Inoki shot him a cold look. You think it was a walk in the park for me and the Raikage to beat you down? Raza flushed, barely managing to choke out, I was caught off guard. Uchiha Kagami thrashed me and the Raikage, along with his old man and the four-tailed beasts, made us run like scared dogs. Inoki spat. And get this. We even sacrificed the five-tails Jinchuriki and the third Raikage just to survive. Inoki wasn't exactly enjoying reliving his humiliation, and his face twisted in distaste. Just because you haven't seen power like that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I'm telling you, Uchiha Kagami is on the same level as Uchiha Madara. Whether he actually is Madara or not, it doesn't matter. In the ninja world today, without a Hashirama Senju around, nobody can stop Uchiha Kagami from doing whatever he wants. Inoki fixed Raza with a stern look. We've already talked to the Land of Lightning and Earth daimyos. They'll approach the Wind daimyo to get him on board. The Mizukage is an old friend. I'll explain the situation to him. I'm even willing to let go of my master's grudge. What are you still doubting? The Water Country's island came into view. Before we take down Uchiha Kagami, we have to unite. We can't give him a chance to pick us off one by one. A four-nation alliance, that's the only way. What about the Hokage? Raza asked. After a moment of thought. After a pause, Inoki sighed. Sarutobi and I both had the chance to shut him down. Forget the Hokage. I'm guessing things have changed in Konoha. AI, who had been silent until now, spoke up. Knowing that kid, if he isn't coming after us, he's probably tearing Konoha apart. Once we have the alliance, send your Jinchuriki to the Land of Lightning. We know how to help Jinchuriki and tailed beasts get along. It's not guaranteed, mind you. But if you're not a perfect Jinchuriki, you're not going to stand a chance against that guy. I understand. Deep in the underground palace, Obito and Madara were silent after hearing White Zetsu's report. I figured, missing an eye, he couldn't use Susanoo. A smile crept onto Uchiha Madara's weathered face. That brat Jing has actually reached my prime. The smile vanished instantly. Obito, you're not a match for Kagami yet, and he won't approve of the Moon Eye plan. Obito lowered his head, his eyes cold. That guy, always one step ahead of me. But I want to leave, and he can't stop me. That Madara didn't argue. Even from his perspective, Obito's Mangekyo dojutsu was unmatched. Without the intel, even a younger Madara would have had trouble dealing with someone wielding the dual divine eyes. Choosing Obito had been the right call. Uchiha Madara led him to a secret chamber, where rows of Sharingan hung on the wall. These were the eyes of his ancestors that he'd salvaged when he left the village, dozens still preserved. I'll teach you a technique to counter Uchiha Kagami, called Izanagi, the technique to change fate. Fair warning, don't get hit by Uchiha Kagami's yin-yang release black rod. Activate Izanagi before he gets the chance. Obito asked, you know so much about him. Do you have a way to beat him? Defeating Uchiha Kagami consumed him. Madara shook his head. At that level, just knowing things isn't enough. Uchiha Kagami is strong across the board. Only overwhelming power can suppress him. Then, can the Rinnegan you mentioned defeat him? Uchiha Madara turned to face him. Maybe, eventually, Kagami's eyes won't be as good as the Rinnegan. Patience, Obito. You have the potential to be as good as Kagami. If you and Nagato work together, you might be able to take him down. Focus on recovering. Watching Uchiha Madara's back, Obito suddenly felt empty. Where are you going? Moving things around. I expect that kid to act up. Uchiha Madara went into his room and sat down. An idea struck him, and he raised his hand. A mass of dark matter flowed out, forming half a body. Master Madara, what is that? Baizetsu asked, a little scared as the dark creature approached. This is a manifestation of my will. Let's call him Black Zetsu. You'll work together as Ju. Black and white Zetsu merged into one. Heh, hello. Baizetsu wasn't used to it yet and forced a laugh. It's too late. Uchiha Kagami is the biggest obstacle to the Moon Eye plan. Nagato needs to grow quickly. Let's give him 1, 2. He needs to master the reincarnation art as soon as possible. Master Madara, if you knew Kagami would be an obstacle, why didn't you kill him when you had the chance? Uchiha Madara chuckled. That's a question a kid like Jing would ask. I kept him around to give me an interesting challenge when I return. Hashirama's gone. It's rare to find a worthy opponent. In another unknown underground cavity, candlelight cast eerie shadows. A ninja was tied up, struggling violently. The flickering light revealed a pale face. The trademark purple eyeshadow and dark gold eyes gave him away. Orochimaru, after completing a series of intricate hand seals, he pressed his palm against the ninja's body. A blast of cold wind swept through the cave. After chilling screams, a figure crawled out of the sacrificed body. He was tall and wore blue Warring States-era armor, silver hair, red eyes, and 3 red marks on his face. Everyone in Konoha knew this face, the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju. Such a weak body. Did you summon me with the impure world reincarnation? Who are you, and what's happened? Senju Tobirama wasn't surprised to be resurrected by the impure world reincarnation. Knowing the technique was in the scroll of seals, he knew he might be summoned someday. He who plays with the souls of the dead must be prepared to be played with in turn. Orochimaru sensed that Tobirama Senju's chakra was no more than that of a regular jonin, not much stronger than the ninja he'd captured. He had expected it, but it was still disappointing. I am Orochimaru, disciple of Sarutobi Hiruzen. You were once the second Hokage of Konoha. Lord Tobirama, I wish to enlist your help in perfecting the impure world reincarnation technique. Senju Tobirama frowned. What happened in the village, Monkey's disciple? Tell me everything. Chapter 79, Konoha Reconstruction, Founder #039, S-Rock. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Konoha, 10 days had passed since the fight. The wreckage had been cleared, the land restored, except for the ravine Uchiha Mirror made. Groundwater had filled it, creating a long, narrow lake. Tents dotted a cleared area, serving as temporary homes, and smoke curled upwards from their openings. Some might argue that raising Konoha wasn't necessary, that it went too far, but Uchiha Mirror disagreed. In his opinion, it was the only way. Reforming a person is harder than killing them, and the same held true for Konoha. With his strength and intellect, Uchiha Mirror could have partnered with Minato and others, won over the clans one by one, and achieved a peaceful takeover, but that would take too damn long. Sometimes, half a year of sweet talk is less effective than holding a knife to someone's throat for 10 seconds, only when they saw the stark difference in power would they abandon their unrealistic fantasies. No more troublesome rebel factions, that was Uchiha Mirror's brand of tough love. Sitting atop the head of Hashirama Senju on the Hokage Rock, Uchiha Mirror surveyed the bustling village, his spirits high. His goal remained the same: he wanted his family, his friends, his future kids to live in peace. The village existed to protect the people, not the other way around. Maintaining something is harder than building it. Back in the day, if Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha had stayed united, they could have ruled the whole ninja world. That might be the only thing Madara Uchiha and Tobirama Senju ever agreed on. Hashirama Senju had a different vision. He chose to distribute the tailed beasts to balance the power between villages. Water under the bridge. No point dwelling on right or wrong now. Conquering Konoha wasn't the challenge, keeping it was. Uchiha Mirror knew he was now public enemy number one. Nothing he could do about it. He needed to push past his limits with Sukuna's help, and he had to depend on outside forces to do so. Quietly grow into the strongest, then unify the ninja world. Never in this life, or any previous one, had Uchiha Mirror dreamt of that. The path to strength has to be earned. One step at a time, testing yourself against equals to climb higher. The original journey was lost, but Uchiha Mirror decided everyone in the ninja world was his enemy. Uchiha Madara, Black Zetsu, the 5 great nations, Nagato, Obito, even a resurrected Hashirama Senju. Orochimaru was sharp. His first move would probably be to revive Tobirama Senju. Uchiha Mirror knew he was the strongest in the ninja world right now, but there was also the Pure Land, and he gazed into the distance. The moon was faintly visible in the daytime sky, pale, barely there. Too bad he couldn't just slice it in half. Forget Kagaya Otsutsuki for now. Tonari Otsutsuki was probably just being born around this time. His dad still alive. His dad was the one who brought Tonari to Earth to check out Hinata, set up some arranged marriage thing. So many headaches, screw it. He'd take half the day off and not think about any of it. Uchiha Mirror laced his fingers behind his head, lounging on Hashirama's face, listening to the sounds of construction and the breeze rustling through his hair. Zooming out, next to Hashirama Senju's face, the faces of Tobirama Senju and Hiruzen Sarutobi had been chiseled off. Farther away, you could see the beginnings of another face, with wild, spiky hair. That's what happens when dynasties change. The Uchiha clan didn't recognize Tobirama Senju and Hiruzen Sarutobi. Hashirama Senju, you were the real deal. We lost to you, fair and square. The beginning of the Hidden Leaf Village. The Uchiha clan lost to the Senju clan. Now the Uchiha clan had struck back, making it 1-1. They wouldn't touch Hashirama Senju's likeness, but adding one of Uchiha Madara wasn't too much to ask, right? This place wasn't Hokage Rock anymore. It was Founder's Rock. Uchiha Mirror hadn't been relaxing long when he sensed someone approaching. Soft pads on stone, barely a sound, not even as loud as fat jiggling. Lord Mirror, are you asleep? Meow. Revolver waddled up, walking upright, wearing a slightly grubby cat apron, clutching a hammer and axe, with tools hanging from his waist. What is it now? Uchiha Mirror snapped. Revolver had already bothered him 3 times today. Revolver's chubby body trembled. The second team of the construction department told me, there's not enough wood. Are you kidding me? Uchiha Mirror pointed to the edge of Konoha. Are you blind? There's wood everywhere. But. Revolver was on the verge of tears. When we tried to chop down trees, the Forest Conservation Department said no. Meow. Uchiha Mirror scratched his head, glaring at Revolver. I'm warning you, next time this happens, go to Namake's Minato. He's the Hokage. Let him coordinate the different departments. Poof star, speak of the devil. Namake's Minato smiled sheepishly. Minister Revolver, freshly cut wood can't be used for construction. It needs to air dry for months. Yep, Revolver was currently the minister of Konoha's construction department, leading all the ninja cats from Cat Town in the reconstruction effort. Uchiha Mirror frowned. He didn't get any of this. He was never cut out for management. Too much hassle. He knew his limits. Uchiha Mirror glanced at Revolver. Figures you'd be the first one to complain, you big dummy. Revolver burst into tears. I don't know. They keep bugging me, meow. Just get back to work, don't go over my head, and don't bother me. I'm busy, got it. Revolver slunk off, miserable. Namake's Minato turned from Revolver's retreating form, smiling wryly. Don't blame Minister Revolver. I've been swamped, he couldn't find me. Mirror, there's a serious issue with the village reconstruction. I need to talk to you. Uchiha Mirror nodded, gesturing for Minato to continue. Except for the Konoha cemetery, everywhere else is damaged. A lot of it is completely gone. Minato's eyes held a hint of reproach. After all, the guy in front of him was the one who'd caused all this. The other stuff is manageable, but the hospital has to be rebuilt immediately. We need medical supplies, and food is only a temporary solution. We're going to have big problems in the long run. Uchiha Mirror frowned. Didn't we send someone to ask the fire daimyo for funds? Minato just stared at Uchiha Mirror, his meaning obvious. Mirror understood. That old tightwad won't loosen the purse strings until he's staring death in the face. He doesn't know who's in charge. Uchiha Mirror's eyes narrowed. I'll pay him a visit. If he doesn't listen, I'll change his mind, one way or another. Chapter 80 The Famous Names of the Kingdom of Fire. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jing Uchiha was not happy. After all those years of fighting, his standards were pretty low. He just wanted a half day to chill. Even setting aside the big stuff, he still had a million things on his plate. He pushed himself up, and after a moment's thought, said. Oh, yeah, when you get a sec, put out a wanted poster for Orochimaru, the S-rank rogue ninja. Huh, Minato was lost. Isn't Orochimaru dead? Besides, he was a respected elder who'd been up for Hokage once. It felt kinda wrong to label a dead guy a traitor. That guy's not gonna die that easily. Jing Uchiha smiled slightly. Don't underestimate Orochimaru. He's gonna be a major pain in the butt if we want to make our dreams a reality. Minato Namake's frowned and sighed. Man, you don't realize how much goes into this job until you're actually sitting in the chair. And I'm already feeling it. Jing, you must have even more to deal with, right? Luckily. Jing Uchiha smirked. I still love a good fight. Win or lose, I can live with it. At least I'm on the right path, right? Namake's Minato, who had been looking beat, finally cracked a smile. Yeah, whether we succeed or fail, we just gotta stick to our guns. He brushed some dust off his back. Alright, I'm out. The village is all yours. Hold on a sec. Minato called out to Jing, hesitated, and then said, what should we do about Tsukumo-senpai? To put it gently, Hatake Tsukumo was taking it easy. But really, he was just trying to escape. Now that the Hokage lineage was gone, he didn't have to deal with all the annoying people anymore. He genuinely loved the village, so of course, he'd stick around and help with the rebuild. Everyone else was easy to figure out, but Minato was stumped about what to do with Hatake Tsukumo. In terms of experience and talent, Hatake Tsukumo outranked him. Even from Jing's point of view, Hatake Tsukumo was a senior. Both guys were powerhouses. Honestly, if Hatake Tsukumo had stepped up first during the war, Namake's Minato would have nominated him for Hokage. Jing Uchiha started to walk away. You're the Hokage. That's your call. The corner of his mouth curled up. If you can't figure it out, just make him co-leader. Co-leader *. Not hard to figure out. Namake's Minato stroked his chin, deep in thought. Jing Uchiha, about to leave, suddenly felt something and looked into the distance. The Sharingan pattern appeared in his eyes, and just as he caught a glimpse of a figure, it vanished from the distant hilltop. That sensing ability, Tobarama Senju. So pathetic, you can't even face me, you just peek from a distance and run. Heh. Senju, our war's still on, a destiny intertwined for 1,000 years, it'll end with me. In a hidden underground cave, Orochimaru was relaxed, watching Tobarama Senju return instantly. Well, Master Tobarama, did you confirm it? Tobarama Senju looked like his dog had just died, bang, he punched the stone wall hard, but the wall barely budged. Some debris fell off his dirty body. What the hell were the monkeys thinking? Either fully embrace the Uchiha or wipe them out, no matter the cost. Before this war started, we had the perfect opportunity. All that hemming and hawing. You can't deal with the Uchiha without taking some losses. Assholes. Tobarama Senju was so angry he could barely speak. Based on what he was seeing, he was wondering, if it wouldn't have been better to let Danzo be Hokage back then, anything would have been better than this. The village that my brother and I worked so hard to build is a total disaster. Tobarama Senju refused to believe that the land now belonged to Konoha. In his eyes, it was a den of sin where the Uchiha clan was being enslaved. He saw disciples who died in shame in cages. Even in death, their souls were trapped there, unable to rest. Even in his weakened, filthy state, Tobarama Senju felt a sharp pain in his heart. Danzo, what a miserable life you've had. It's not as simple as you're making it out to be. Given the situation back then, if the leader had attacked the Uchiha, Konoha would have been picked apart by other villages after we were weakened. Orochimaru put in a fair word for his teacher. Tobarama Senju calmed down quickly. Now that the damage was done, he could only look ahead. Orochimaru, you're right. The monkeys didn't choose wrong. That evil Uchiha kid is too strong. You made the right call. I acknowledge your position as the fourth Hokage, and we are going to rebuild Konoha. We can't let that brat stain the name of Konoha. Damn it, they even chiseled my face into the mountain. That's whatever, but they actually carved a yen for that jerk Madara. Then you guys should chisel off my brother's face, too. Don't you know there are two statues, the same size as the Valley of the End? And they're opposites. What a disgrace. Orochimaru didn't care anymore and said calmly, as Hokage, Orochimaru is dead. I'm not taking on that responsibility again. My only goal is to learn all the ninjutsu in the world. Just that. Tobarama Senju crossed his arms and chuckled. Your dream might be harder than being a good Hokage. Maybe. Orochimaru chuckled and then said, let's focus on the task at hand. Any thoughts on improving the impure world reincarnation technique? Tobarama Senju frowned. I just wanted to use it in conjunction with another technique. I developed this technique somewhat accidentally and didn't put a whole lot of thought into it. If you really think about it, it could be perfected. You're right. Only my big brother in his prime could beat that kid. But, that means we'll need a lot of ninja for live experiments, and the right info and equipment are crucial. Can you get your hands on them? Orochimaru smiled faintly. That's why I summoned you in the first place. I'm not showing my face until I have a way out. I'd appreciate it if Master Tobarama would take care of these things. Tobarama Senju stroked his chin and asked, is Enichi Sojin still the daimyo of the Land of Fire? Calling the daimyo by his first name, shows how long he's been gone, because the old man always called him Master Enichi. Orochimaru didn't react right away, he nodded. Yes. That kid's pretty obedient. If I go talk to him, he'll give us some money. Just as Tobarama Senju was about to leave, Orochimaru raised his hand to stop him, looking serious. One last thing, Lord Tobarama, you're not gonna try to get revenge on Kagami Uchiha, are you? Orochimaru was worried by Tobarama Senju's emotional outburst just now. That's the worst thing that can happen to a researcher like them, Tobarama scoffed. Heh, do you think I'm some hot-headed idiot? The second he gets within my sensing range, I'm running. This body is weak, but at least I can maintain my senses without getting tired. Brother, you never would have thought that the technique you forbade me from studying is now key to saving Konoha.